Hello everyone, pardon my appearance. I'm traveling right now, but I wanted to get this video out and share this news with you. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is currently also traveling in Europe, and evidently in Stuttgart he got up early in the morning and PT'd with the troops. Now this is unbelievable, and for many reasons.
I did do PT with the troops this morning. Listen, it's not that long ago that I was right there with them. I probably, no offense, General, I probably connect more with those guys than I do with four-star generals. But now I get the chance of working with four stars and others who are committed to the troops. But when I can get down, do push-ups and deadlifts with the troops, and just hear from them, what's working, what isn't, how do you see your mission set? I love that.
Not easy getting up early in the mornings and exercising. A lot of troops don't like it, for various reasons. And, Pete Hegseth, by going out and exercising with the troops early in the morning, is sending out several messages throughout the force. And I want to discuss a few of these messages. The first message that he's sending out is that troops matter. And by him getting up early in the morning and being with them on their turf and exercising with them, sweating with them, feeling the pain, and sends a strong message that troops matter. So that's the first message. And then there's also interaction, right? There's a feedback loop that troops are talking to him while they're exercising and whatnot. So he's getting information from ground truth. So he's gauging what the physical fitness and the mental toughness of the force is all about. So I think that's very important as a leader. The second message that's going out to the force is that he's going to be out and about and doing things that are unconventional. No Secretary of Defense previously has done this. So what's the message that goes out to the generals and the senior leaders? Hey, he's going to be out and about, so you better get out and about and do the same things. So what you're going to see is many general officers are going to get out from behind their desks and go out there and PT with the troops. Now, certainly there are generals that do that already, but typically what you see is general officers don't really interact with the lower formations in their command. For example, infantry battalions. I never had a general officer come down to our battalion and exercise with us. He should have. I never had a regimental commander that come down and exercise with us. He should have. I never had a MU commander that came down and exercised with them. He should have. Okay, so what happens is these people insulate themselves in their offices and behind their computers. That's not leadership. That's an administrative leadership, right? And they certainly have administrative responsibilities. I respect that. But the most important responsibility you have is to the troops. And by getting out there and exercising with them, and breaking sweat, there's a bond that you create with your troops. That's very important. So I think this is great, what he's done. And we're going to see far more senior officers getting out there with their troops and exercising, doing runs, lifting weights, doing the obstacle course, and even doing hikes. In the old days when I was a lieutenant, we used to see colonels and above coming down there and exercising with these formations. I remember Colonel J.J. Vargas, Medal of Honor recipient. He'd always be walking around the regimental area and the battalion areas. He'd always be in the chow hall. And, he'd out be once in a while, he'd come down there and PT with us, or just come out and stand there and watch us exercise and then interact with the troops. So it's very, very important. The next thing I'd like to see Pete Hegseth do is get in the chow halls with the troops. Now, typically what happens is when you get a VIP coming in, they put on a dog and pony show. They'll hand select the troops that the VIP has to interact with. They'll have a separate area set aside. They put flowers out. They'll make a nice cake and stuff, and they'll try to impress you. And that's all, it's a dog and pony show. The troops hate it. And what really needs to happen is, when he goes down to a base, he just randomly picks one chow hall and says, hey, half an hour before, I want to go eat in that chow hall. So security can get out and do whatever the hell they need to do. And he goes in there, gets in the line, gets his plastic tray or metal tray, and goes to the line, gets his food, and goes and sits down with the troops and, breaks bread with them. And slowly, you're going to find out the troops start talking to you. And you find out what kind of music they listen to, what's on their horizon, what are those things that are important, what's their family background, what's their educational background, and what are the issues that concern them. And I think that's very important that this happens. And this is a feedback mechanism, right? How's their family life? How's their base housing? How's their enlisted quarters? All that stuff is very important. So this is the type of interaction that we need to have between the senior leadership in the military and our force. It's very, very important. And finally, I would also recommend to Pete Hegseth, while you're out there doing your visits, go through the troop barracks. Now, historically, the barracks in the U.S. military are old. I get that. But old doesn't mean that they have to look like crap, right? That they have mold in them, they got rats running around, and all that shit. And the reason they have that is because there's a culture in the military at one time that we were told that, hey, you don't want to invade on the privacy of the troops, so just back off. Well, that was horse shit. I didn't buy into that. I would formally inspect one rifle company every week. I would go to the barracks. The Marines were expected to be in their rooms. And I would go in there and look at the maintenance log, make sure the room didn't have any maintenance issues. And I would take a few minutes and talk to the Marines and see how they're doing. And, get some feedback from them. And I think that's very important. By me doing that, it forced the company commanders, the company first sergeants, and the company gunnery sergeants to do the same, to do their inspections, and then the platoon commanders to do their inspections to get ready for my inspection. That's very important. Then, on the weekends, I would walk through the barracks informally. I'd grab my son, who's also a Marine. At the time, he's a young kid. He's, about 8, 9, 10 years old. And we'd walk through the barracks. And I'd walk in. The Marines would be shocked to see the battalion commander on the weekends walking through the barracks. And it'd be an informal, interaction, see how they're doing. And many times, they weren't allowed to have more than a 6-pack of beer. They'd have a 12-pack, And I'd kind of notice it, corner of my eye, but I wouldn't say anything. And when I'd be leaving, I'd just tell them, hey, stud, stay out of trouble. See you on Monday. Be ready. So that's one way of knowing it. And they knew that I saw it. And then, come Monday, no issue was made about it. So there's sort of a bond between myself and the troops. And we never had any issues, alcohol-related issues. So that's the first part. The second part was you go check on the weekends on the new Marines. These new Marines come to a place like Camp Lejeune. They have no clue what's going on, right? And they're sitting in the barracks. They get their ass whooped all week because of hard training. And then on the weekends, they're just sitting there, twiddling their thumbs or playing, PlayStation or whatever the hell. So I would walk through the barracks and say, stud, how come you're not down in Onslow Beach chasing some fat chicks? And they go, sir, well, we can't get down to Onslow Beach. Well, you got to be shitting me. I have a duty van. I've got a van that just sits in the parking lot. And I'd call the OD, officer of the day, and say, hey, get over here and get these Marines down to Onslow Beach. Let them go chase some fat chicks and, set up a time with them and send the van back and pick them up. This is the type of genuine leadership and care, for your Marines that you have to exhibit as a leader. And if you don't do that, everything just atrophies and goes to shit over time. And the reason we get paid, officers and staff and COs, is to be engaged with our troops. Just like we would be engaged with our children. Would you allow your child to just sit there on the weekends and play PlayStation all day? No, you wouldn't. You would certainly, organize activities for your children. Well, it's the same principle that applies to your troops. Would you not make sure that your child is being properly fed? Of course you would. Same rules apply to the troops. Would you not make sure that your child's room is clean? Of course you would. Same rules apply to the troops. So this stuff isn't hard. Most of it's common sense. And I really applaud Pete Hegseth that he's taken the step and he is changing the nature and the leadership of the military. And I'm telling you this, these little things that he's doing cost no money, just a little bit of time, and it's going to send a strong message across the force. There's new leadership in town. And although I didn't support his nomination, I'll tell you what, when you're wrong, you're wrong. And on this one, I was wrong. I accept that. And Pete Hegseth, I salute you. I was wrong. Keep doing what you're doing. This is exactly the type of leadership we need in our military to turn things around and hold our senior officers accountable to their leadership responsibilities and their decisions. This is what we want. I'd appreciate everybody leaving their comments and letting us know what they think of Pete Hegseth exercising with the troops in the morning. And also share with us your experiences with the officers and staff and COs during PT and also in the chow hall. Did you see them often eating in the chow hall and sitting with the troops or sitting in a separate area? And finally, barracks inspections. What are your thoughts on that? Did you have, weekly or regular inspections in the barracks or not? I think these are all important fundamental leadership responsibilities that we need to get back to and start paying attention. It's just going to make us a better military all the way around. That's all I got. Stay rugged, stay united. Khan out.